The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers and Danica, start your engines!
Pull those belts down tight. One more time. Warm up those tires. Hit your marks. And let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, NHRA, and local dirt track and drag strip racing talk. This is the Championship Racing Network.
Where'd you go? Where's your home? How'd you end up all alone? Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Now, here's Steve West, Dustin Harmer, and Matt Nicholson with producer John Myers.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome into Saturday and the Championship Racing Network here as we are into the month of October very, very well.
Yes, we are.
1 week to go until Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah. How about that, guys?
Yeah. And that means 1 week to go until our special event in downtown Childersburg.
That's right. Pinkoween at Renaissance Bank, 8th Avenue Southwest in downtown Childersburg. It's going to be great. It's all going to be going for a great cause. All proceeds from the event are going to be going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation of Alabama.
Yep. Need to get that disease the heck out of here.
Yes, we do, and we're going to be talking all about that later on, especially towards the end of the show.
You know, speaking of talking to special people.
Yes.
Yeah. Hour number 2, we have got a special guest right here on the Championship Racing Network, and we're going to be talking about a special event that he and a couple of other members of the legendary Alabama gang are going to be taking part in on the Monday after Talladega runs. So a week and 2 days from right now. We're looking forward to talking to Donnie Allison right here in hour number 2. For those of you that are in the central time zone, right where our home in Sylacauga is, that'll be 12:20. If you're listening in the eastern time zone, that'll be 1:20 for you. So looking forward to talking to Donnie Allison. In the meantime, we got a lot of news.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Busy week.
Ton of news.
So let's see what we can get into, shall we?
Let's do it, man.
All right, let's start with the on-track action from last weekend at Dover Xfinity Series. It's a little bit more uncommon during the playoffs. Moonlighters, though, still crash the party from time to time, at least up until the final race at Homestead, Miami. In this case, though, it was somebody stepping up. It was Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney stepping up. Camping World Truck Series regular, traveled across the country, claimed the win in the Team Penske number 22, kept the Xfinity Series regulars, Reed playoff contenders, from being able to lock their way into round 2 through a win. Playoff drivers did step up for this race, though, and we've seen this the past couple of races.
Yep.
They claimed spots 2 through 6, and overall 9 of the top 11 finishing places all went to playoff drivers. So they're stepping it up at the right time, but Ryan Blaney came in and said, I'm going to take that checkered flag.
Just a little bit.
And by the way, did something really cool with that checkered flag. Handed it through the fence to a fan.
That was probably the coolest thing of the weekend. I think you posted it up to the page, Matt, the fact that seeing him hand that to a fan. A little hesitant on the fan's part, but he took the flag.
For me?
And it was weird because he had a 42 hat on for Kyle Larson.
Through 11th place, your finishers, Ryan Blaney, Justin Allgaier, William Byron, Daniel Hemrick, Brennan Poole, Matt Tift, more on him later, Moonlighter, Daniel Suarez, Cole Custer, Elliott Sadler, Brendan Gaughan, and Michael Annette. Your points in Xfinity, Justin Allgaier leads the way. The 3 that are on the hot spot, in the hot seat right now, are Michael Annette, Blake Cook, and Jeremy Clements. Clements is only 18 points out of 9th place, so that is something that is, you can overcome that kind of a deficit. So
ain't nothing that can't be done.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Not this weekend, though, because Xfinity is off.
That is right.
Saturday night out in Las Vegas, by your way, thoughts and prayers out to all of the people out in Las Vegas and all those people affected by that following the news of the shooting on Sunday night at a concert on the southern end of the famed Las Vegas Strip. But it was Saturday night, the night before, when the Camping World Truck Series ran. Bit of an upset here. While he's a playoff contender, we haven't talked a whole lot this year about Ben Rhodes.
No, we haven't.
He's just been quiet.
Yeah. But he's been quiet, but he's been there.
He's been consistent.
That's exactly the point.
And now he's got himself a win, and that locks him into round 2. Christopher Bell was hoping to be able to get it, but no, Ben Rhodes got around. Christopher Bell claimed his very first win in the series. Rhodes now joins Bell, locked into round 2 with that win. Rhodes showed that he would be somebody to contend with when he claimed that second stage of the race, but he needed a little bit of help to claim that win. That help came in the form of the then leader, John Hunter Nemechek, while riding around under caution with 14 laps left, ran out of gas.
It's always the gas that gets you.
Yeah.
I know. It's,
I mean, and it's so many times we've seen races, whatever series it may be, and you think you got just enough, but those last couple drops just didn't get in the tank.
they're going to open up pit road in just a second. I can make it. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
Pedal.
Yep.
I think we can agree with that when it came to a certain road course with one Kevin Harvick.
Well, here's the thing. John Hunter Nemechek and his team kind of compounded problems upon each other because, number one, he had to limp into his pit.
Yeah.
And then the pit stop went wrong, too. He had the extra time of getting the fuel through the lines up to the engine to get it started. And then he stalled his truck attempting to pull out of his stall. The crew had to push him back into the stall before he could get the truck fired again and drive off.
That's what you call a complete and total chaos of a mess.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's unfortunate, too.
Nightmare scenario.
You think about how good of a truck he had to be leading with 14 laps left and then to have this go wrong, and that's ultimately frustrating.
Yep.
Nemechek did stay on the lead lap, but by the time everything happened and the restart goes down, he was 10th with 7 laps to go. Ben Rhodes jumps out to the lead. Bell was hot on his trail. Rhodes got a timely block in order to save his win. Trailing Rhodes and Bell across the finish line, more championship contenders in the form of Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and Kaz Grala. Second half of your top 10, Cody Coughlin, Matt Crafton, John Hunter Nemechek, Alabama's own Grant Enfinger, and then Johnny Sauter in 10th place. For the record, Ryan did get out to Vegas in time to compete in his truck and finished 12th. That's impressive to get from Dover to Vegas, win at Dover, and place 12th in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody's going to turn that down. Hey, I'll just do here, get on the plane, go.
Yeah. Man, congratulations there, brother. Christopher Bell continues to lead the way in the playoffs. As we mentioned, Ben Rhodes also guaranteed to move on to round 2. Drivers on the hot seat as we get ready for the upcoming race at Talladega. Kaz Grala, John Hunter Nemechek, but only 14 points out of 6th place for John Hunter Nemechek. So, again, that's a hurdle that you can overcome.
Yeah, it's when you start getting a little bit more that you start having a little bit of the pressure cooker starts to get a little hot.
Exactly. For those of you that are new to the show, maybe you haven't heard us or haven't heard us in a very long time, we continue to expand out.
Yes.
And we're the only racing radio show that we can tell on this planet that covers NASCAR all top 3 series, Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity, and Monster Energy Cup Series. We also cover IndyCar, NHRA, and Formula One with Formula E. And that brings us to Sunday morning U.S. time, the final Formula One Malaysian Grand Prix, at least for the foreseeable future, because they have decided no longer to host.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton claimed the pole, and it looked like he and his Mercedes would just be ready to continue their hot streak following the August break, but there was a party crasher ready to take on some headlines. Gave himself quite the birthday present. The party crasher is the man who just the day before the race turned a grand total of 20 years old. Max Verstappen got right on the rear wing of Hamilton's Mercedes coming out of turn 1 on the first lap, and then on lap 3 drove real hard into a sharp right-hander, got under Hamilton, claimed the lead, and he wouldn't give it up for the remainder of the race. Now, Max Verstappen's already Formula One's youngest ever winner.
Yeah.
Claimed his first win in the series at the ripe old age of 18 before he even had his actual driver's license.
Yeah. Now think about it. Okay, each of us, what were you doing at 20?
I was in radio. I was in this business. I was broadcasting.
Okay. What were you doing at 20?
I was working.
Oh, you were working.
Yeah.
And you?
Let's see, 2000. So I was in the Marines.
Yeah.
That's about it.
This guy's out here winning races.
He's out there winning races. I need to go back and talk to my career counselor at school.
So if you were to look at the list of the youngest winners by year and how old they are, specifically how many years and months and days, if applicable, not only is he the youngest winner at 18 years old, he's the second youngest winner at 20 years and 1 day, a full 72 days younger than what Sebastian Vettel was when he was victorious in the Italian Grand Prix back in 2008.
This is the stuff that we kind of foresee happening for one Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
We saw
the kid
something,
is talented.
and he's got talent, and we've seen a little bit of the edginess that he has. We've also seen some times where he's had a lot of patience, but you can tell he's aggressive, but he does make the right moves.
He's still got some things that he still needs to learn. Sometimes he's a little bit over-aggressive. He's ruffled the feathers of the other drivers on the F1 circuit, but he's starting to gain their respect as well because
and that's the thing that
he's
matters,
maturing as he is getting older.
He's not. He's kind of came in there and he's basically said, "Look, I'm here. This is what I do. I know you guys are the seasoned veterans, but you know what? I'm the next generation.
Yeah.
And
here I am.
Here I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Following Verstappen and joining him on the podium, Lewis Hamilton, who did claim second, and then a great day for Red Bull with Daniel Ricciardo claiming third. Then there's the remarkable run by Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah.
because they had some major problems. He ended up starting on the back of the field due to penalties, but just absolutely on fire at the beginning of the race, and they were able to keep up that kind of pace throughout the end of it, and by the time all was done, he finished 4th.
That in itself is a win.
Yeah.
Might not have gotten on the podium, but that in itself is a win. I would take it as one, that's for sure.
The other Mercedes driver, Valtteri Bottas, in 5th. Then you got Sergio Perez, Stoffel Van Dorn, Lance Stroll with a nice run in his Williams. We haven't seen much from Williams this year as opposed to last year. They were strong last year, but this year Williams has kind of taken at least one, if not 2 steps back.
They have, and it was great to see that they were making those leaps forward. The problem is how long does that last? And we've seen it last basically one season for the likes of Williams. I think maybe they tried a few new different things this year, just playing with the playbook, seeing what worked, what didn't. Now they know what doesn't work. Now they know what does work. Guaranteed next year, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a response out of that Williams team.
But what they had that didn't work put them a little too far back.
It did, but it's also given them that nice buffer of good, no go.
Exactly.
Stay to the good side.
Rounding out the top 10, Felipe Massa, Esteban Ocon. Updated points, Hamilton extends his lead over Vettel. Now it's 34 points, 281 to 247. Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, 222. Daniel Ricciardo starting to catch up, 177. And that 3rd place finish also separated him out from Kimi Räikkönen, the 2nd Ferrari driver. And you want to talk about a major jump. Kimi Räikkönen could not even make the call for the start of the race because massive car problems on that Ferrari.
Yes,
and
definitely.
he didn't even start. So, unfortunately for him, he's only got 138 points. That's good enough for 5th. 6 through 10 in points, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz, and Nico Hülkenberg. Battle for 10th place in points is something to be watching as well because they've got a little bit more than a month, about 6 or 7 weeks. Somewhere in that area left.
Something like that.
It's about 7.
Something like that.
And just a handful of races, so that battle for 10th is huge as well. 4 drivers are within 7 points of each other on that. Nico Hülkenberg in 10th with 34 points. Felipe Massa, 33. Lance Stroll with his top 10 is now 32, and Romain Grosjean from the Haas F1 team tallies 26 on the season. So a lot of change could still happen there.
And that's the one thing about racing that I like is, when it comes down to the end of the season, you're coming down for championship. You might not be contending for a championship. You might be contending for a top 10, overall.
Yeah.
But every single spot counts, no matter where you are or how many points back you are.
It's all about the money.
We have seen a lot of great battles when it comes down to that last race of the season, getting those couple points to move up one spot in the overall standings.
Exactly. Manufacturers, Cup, Mercedes. Yeah, you're starting to get to the point where you can't see them with a telescope. 2 top 5 finishes and a 1 DNS by Ferrari. So Mercedes now leads the prancing horse make by a total of 503 to 385 points.
Yeah,
gone.
you know that telescope you were talking about?
Yeah.
No, you need the Hubble.
The Hubble. Red Bull has 270 points, so they're pretty solidly in 3rd. Force India 133 points for 4th. They're the last team with 100 points. Back to the U.S. on Sunday, Cup Series rolled out to the high banks of Dover International Raceway, and you got a chase racer claiming the win again, but it was not a 3rd driver locking his way into round 2. It was actually repeat winner, and probably not the one you might have thought if you were paying attention through the regular season. Instead of Martin Truex Jr. getting himself another win on the year, Kyle Busch claimed win number 2 in a row. There's a saying in racing that it doesn't matter how many laps you lead as long as you lead the last one.
All you got to do is lead that last one. That's all that matters. That's all they remember.
Unfortunately, one Chase Elliott knows that phrase all too well.
I felt so horrible for Chase.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. He seemed to have the win in hand.
He did.
Which would have been his first, by the way, in 70 career Cup starts. He was about ready to see the white flag as the leader, but he was mired in some lapped traffic. He just couldn't find the way through it. Or some lapped traffic and some traffic that was about to be lapped. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He just couldn't seem to find that hole that would get him through all that traffic in time. And Kyle Busch, got himself around cleanly, claimed both the white and the checkered flags. Elliott said after the race, quote, "I'm just so disappointed in myself. Golly, I couldn't have had it any easier. I gave it away." Wow, I feel like I'm on the Andy Griffith Show. Golly. I like that. Hey, I like the fact that he used that phrase. I really do.
He could have gone so many different directions with that.
Disappointment can turn into anger real quick. And for him to control himself and say this instead of saying what he could have.
Go back to the spring race. We also saw Chase doing an outstanding job there as well. And I'm just going to go out and say this, and you could probably take this one to the bank. he has ran extremely well at Dover.
Yes.
Very well.
That is
Very
where,
well.
and I'm sorry, Chase. I know we got a little bit of racing left in the season, and it's going to be a while before we get to Dover again. But I'm going to say that Dover is going to be where Chase Elliott is going to get his first win. I think he's got that place figured out. The only problem is when you got the likes of Kyle Busch on your rear at a place like Dover, it's like having Jimmy Johnson on your rear at Dover.
Yeah.
Those two guys got that place figured out so well. I mean, I've been to Dover I don't know how many times, and it's like, well, let's see who's going to win today, Jimmy or Kyle, you know? and by the end of the day, it's like, well, there we go.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the place I think that Chase is going to get it done. It's going to be his breakthrough. It's going to be a great place to see him.
Are you saying this barring a restrictor plate win? Because we all know the Talladegas and Daytona's a little bit wild card.
They are a little bit wild card, but I look at the fact of what he did at Dover this past weekend, what he did in the spring race. He's definitely got the place dialed in. He knows how to handle it. He had a little bit of a hiccup right at the end, but that's sometimes what happens when it comes into lap traffic, especially at a place like Dover.
Sure.
Sometimes it's really difficult to get around. Just depends on how the car is in front of you and how the car is that you are driving. But that's a place that I see him racing his way to victory lane at the Monster Mile.
I have to disagree with you.
Of course you would.
I always do. I always do.
I know. You always take the other side of the fence, man. It's fine.
I see it coming this year.
Before the end of the year?
I'm not going to
Could be.
look past Texas.
So you're looking at Texas Motor Speedway?
I think Texas is going to be his circle point.
Okay. It'll be interesting to watch. It really will.
Other than Talladega, I'm circling Texas for him.
There are really, really popular drivers out there. Obviously, we all know about Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's won most popular driver, 15, 18, 250 years in a row, whatever it is.
Yeah, consecutively since the beginning of
Okay.
time.
And we know, with our experience at Talladega Superspeedway, should that 88 find its way to victory lane next weekend, the place will practically fall apart. Because everyone will be excited. That will be a fantastic win.
Well, not just that, but they will. The party will continue on through the week until Russell Branham and everybody from the track have to go out there and go.
You got to go.
You all can go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah.
The party's over. They're at the next track.
I think one of the most popular wins, barring a Dale Earnhardt Jr. win between now and the end of the season when he steps out of Cup racing for good, would be a Chase Elliott win.
It definitely would. We're not the only ones saying that. There's also been Kevin Harvick who went along and said that this week as well. He said that, Chase needs to get into victory lane. Yeah. It's going to be great for the sport to see Chase get into victory lane wherever it may be. He felt horrible.
He'll get there.
He's going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Dover.
Yeah. This is one of those things, though, and I think all three of us can agree regardless of where we think it might happen.
Yeah.
This is a matter of when, not if.
Yes, it's definitely that.
Back to the same principle as Kyle Larson. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And he brings up a good point, though.
Sure.
If you look back at Auto Club Speedway, when we saw Kyle Larson out there and he was contending for that win and he made just that slight little error and he let it get to him really bad, but then he bounced back, and now look what we've seen out of him so far.
Now all of a sudden
he has just refocused and he's finding victory lane. Same thing with Chase Elliott.
As disappointed as Elliott was not claiming his first win, there are 4 drivers who are now out of the playoffs with major disappointment. Those 4 are Ryan Newman. We'll get back to him in a minute.
Yeah.
Austin Dillon, and the winners of the year's 2 biggest races. Kurt Busch, who won the Daytona 500, and your Brickyard 400 winner Casey Kane are also now out of the playoffs.
I will put this statement down, gentlemen. My bracket is busted.
Good. I like it. I like it just like that. That's what I was
had chosen Kurt to go much further than this. So.
I did too.
I did as well, and I did not foresee Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making it past that first.
I didn't either.
Cut. He raced his way in. I give him credit. Ricky did a great job.
I do not think we were the only ones.
No,
that's true.
We saw the likes of Tony Stewart going up after the race, congratulating him.
Yeah.
It's not that he made it in because of something else that happened.
No, he raced
his way to that next one. A few of the others, yeah, sure.
All right, top 10 on Sunday: Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Clint Boyer, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Daniel Suarez, Jamie McMurray, Brad Keselowski. Points now reset for round 2 of the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. continues to lead the way, 18 points up on Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson, Keselowski, and Johnson. Those who are sitting on the hot seat as we start round 2 with this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway: Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray.
And it's not been a very nice weekend thus far at Charlotte for a lot of drivers.
That's also true.
Walls have the attrition levels getting pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
NHRA is where we're going to go next because they wrapped up the weekend's events at Gateway Motorsports Park. We'll tell you who won Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Motorcycle, and give you the rundown on the championship leads. And we'll tell you what's going to be happening on track this weekend. That's all coming next on the Championship Racing Network.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Starting a business can be a hassle. The most important part of that starts with the right bank to take care of your business's financial future. Renaissance Bank is ready with the tools you need to not only establish your company, but grow your current company. With multiple business accounts, Renaissance can make sure that you have the right account to fit your needs. Skip the hassles and visit Renaissance Bank on 8th Avenue Southwest in Childersburg today and get your business on track to succeed. Online at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Your vehicle is your livelihood and you need it operating at peak performance. Sometimes those pesky gremlins attack your engine with a fury and at the worst possible time. The certified auto and diesel technicians at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center are ready to fight off those gremlins. Whether you're in the family car delivering the kids to practice or in your big rig delivering supplies or goods to your clients, you can depend on Camp Creek Auto and Truck to keep you moving down the road. There's no job too big or small at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center, Highway 78 in Moody. Call them today, 205-640-1558.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffered from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Renaissance Bank in Childersburg and the Championship Racing Network invite you to join them for the Pinko Wing Chili Cook-Off on October 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right, Friday the 13th. For just $5, you get a bowl of chili with all the fixings, chips or crackers, a cookie, and a drink, and add on a candy apple or cotton candy for just $2. Plus so many other activities like a raffle for 2 Sloss's Furnace VIP tickets, plus other giveaways and prizes. All proceeds from the event benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's October 13th at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg with support from Radio Alabama.
Fuel only, fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the Championship Racing Network right here in the J&M Tank Line Studios in beautiful Sylacauga, Alabama. You can find us online, WYEA.net. You can also download the wonderful EA 106.5 app for smartphones and tablets. Simply go in your little search box, look up EA 106.5, and then you can listen to us wherever you are in the world, whether it be California, Oregon, North Carolina by chance, Texas, whatever the case may be. This segment of the show brought to you in part by our great friends at Renaissance Bank. It doesn't matter what you need, whether it be personal, business account. They've got the tools necessary to get the job done, to get your finances back in order, because we all need our finances good.
Don't be that.
So if you need to get in touch with the right folks, we want you to get in touch with the folks that we trust, and they are the official bank of the Championship Racing Network, and that is Renaissance Bank. On 8th Avenue Southwest in downtown Childersburg, online, renaissancebank.com.
I'm Steve West. That's Dustin Harmer. Matt Nicholson along for the ride here, and we wrapped up with everything but the NHRA.
There's always a but.
Yes, there always is. NHRA finalized the weekend's racing action. They were at Gateway Motorsports Park just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, and in Top Fuel, it's Steve Torrance, who outdueled Doug Colita for the win, overcame actually a worse reaction time, and pulled off a 3.684-second ET at 329.34 miles per hour. Edged Colita by a slim 15 one-thousandths of a second at the line. We have seen, now that we're into the championship chase for NHRA, we have seen some real good racing in the NHRA.
And we have definitely seen that. It's definitely left you kind of going, who's got it? And it's always just that touch.
Photo finishes.
And that's and we talk about the reaction time and stuff, and how the reaction time can do you in. You could make that up right then and there and be a winner or a loser.
Yep. Ron Capps topped Johnny Lindbergh in funny car, better reaction time relating to a 25 one-thousandths of a second win. In the end, Capps pulled a 3.879 ET at 331.53 miles per hour. Pro Stock event winner Greg Anderson down to Jason Line running a 6.571 ET at 210.73 miles per hour. Reaction time was everything there. Line actually recorded a quicker ET, but is almost 3/100ths of a second slower reaction time. Made all the difference in the world. So again, that's the reaction time.
That's what I just said.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Pro Stock motorcycle, Ellie Tonglet
Hey.
finally found his way in the playoffs.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, really. Used the same method as Anderson, by the way. Better reaction time led to the win, despite Andrew Hines actually recording a quicker ET by 2/1000ths of a second. Tonglet gets the win, 6.972 ET at 197.91 miles per hour. So, championship leader in top fuel. I have to admit, I actually didn't get that or the Pro Stock Motorcycle standings now that I look at it. That's on me. And I apologize.
Hey, Steve, put out your hand for everybody on Facebook
yes,
Live.
please do. Yeah, there it is.
Bad Steve.
Yep, both of them. All right. Did get funny car. Ron Capps holding a 46-point lead over Robert Height. Courtney Force 108 back. Matt Hagan 157 down. 167 back is Jack Beckman. Pro Stock leader Greg Anderson jumps over Bo Butner. Slim 3-point lead.
Slim.
Very
slim.
That's close.
Jason Line 76 down. Tanner Gray trails by 94. Drew Skillman is fifth, 185 back. So here's this weekend of racing.
This weekend. Everything going on this weekend.
Yep, gets underway today. Matter of fact, shortly after our show ends at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time, the Xfinity Series Drive for the Cure 300 will get onto the track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, PRN Radio, NBC Sports Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central Time start. That's coverage, by the way, not green flag.
Okay.
Another late-night, early morning fest for Formula One.
Oh, go figure. Really?
Yeah. You want to catch the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka? You can on the NBC Sports Network. Begins at midnight Eastern, 11 p.m. Central Time tonight.
That's not bad.
Again, Suzuka International Racing Course, 18 turns over 3.6 miles.
I thought you were going to tell me that my insomnia was going to have to, fire up so I could catch the F1 race.
That was just Malaysia.
Midnight is nothing.
This is just late night.
The late night.
Yeah, this is just late night. This isn't, oh my God, I can't figure out what to do at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Formula One's on.
Hey! It's either that or episodes of Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The somewhat limited slate of racing has only 2 more races. You got the Cup Series running the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. NBC, thank you for understanding that we're now in the chase for the Cup. This is the playoffs.
The playoffs?
It's the playoffs.
Playoffs!
They figured it out. And they actually put a Cup Series race
Easy there,
on the main
Jim Moore.
network.
Wait, hold on. Here's my shocked face. Ready?
PRN Radio also has coverage. Begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time tomorrow. Camping World Truck Series, NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series, both taking this weekend off.
Yeah, still a lot of racing action, though. Charlotte is going to be very interesting.
Yep. NASCAR, following the race last weekend at Dover, noted that 2 cars, those of Clint Boyer and Eric Jones, had a loose lug nut following the Dover event, which will result in each crew chief getting a fine. ESPN's Bob Pockerson, we're friends with him on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay? But we have had, and you and I have talked about this, this was one of the bedrock principles of the Championship Racing Network and the show in its previous life.
Yes.
We didn't care if we got the word out or the news out first. We wanted to get it right.
Yeah, there's getting it out first and getting it out right.
Yes.
Yep.
Bob Pockris kind of fell into this a little bit. He jumped the gun a little
Bob.
bit. Reported that NASCAR had said that the cars had 2 loose lug nuts. Apparently felt as though NASCAR meant that each car had 2. Now, there's a big difference between 1 and 2. If you have 2 loose lug nuts on a car, then the crew chief gets an automatic week's vacation.
Sometimes I'm waiting to find out that those guys go, hey, Timmy, undo that light. Do that for me.
Just leave that one a little loose. I want to take next weekend off.
No, don't tighten it. I want to take the weekend off, take the family to the beach.
Yeah. So, again, misunderstandings happen. Ask questions before you go and report it, Bob. Just, thank you very much. You do a great job, but this one, you jumped the gun on it. NASCAR did have to red flag Sunday's Cup race as well when Jeffrey Earnhardt spun out and hit the sand barrels.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That are used to keep the drivers from hitting the front edge of the pit road wall, which would have been a lot worse, let's face it.
Exactly.
Earnhardt not injured in the crash, talks about the safety and the fact that they were sand barrels instead of smacking into concrete.
That's right.
But NASCAR needed to clean up the track.
Well, there was a little sand on the track.
And pit road.
Just a little.
Yeah, that might do a little bad, might not help the grip a little bit.
And then you had to put the sand barrels back in place. So, yeah.
We're sandpapering Dover.
Exactly. Like it's not sandpapered enough now.
We're smoothing it out.
Grinding the concrete down.
Yeah.
When we talked about the results of the Cup Series race last weekend, we talked about how Chase Elliott got caught up in some traffic that was either lapped traffic or about to go a lap down.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of those drivers that was in that little group that kept Chase Elliott from being able to claim his first win was Ryan Newman. And Ryan Newman was obviously fighting for his championship life as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't good
Couple of
enough.
points.
Ryan Newman actually got into it with 4-time Cup champion, now retired, and Fox Sports commentator Jeff Gordon.
This one floored me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they got into a bit of a heated exchange of words after that. Newman had been kind of blocking Chase Elliott, who took over the 24 following Gordon's retirement, and Gordon does have an ownership interest within Hendrick Motorsports. So when he was going through the pit area following the race, reports state Gordon, as he walked by, was quoted as looking at Newman and saying, "Thanks for the help."
Yeah, I saw the video. Yeah.
All of this was caught on video. Newman replied, "What was that?" Gordon reiterated his comment, to which Newman retorted, "For what?" Gordon said, "For what was happening with the leaders, man." Newman then asked, getting apparently a bit upset, "You don't think I was racing for my own position?" And Gordon said, "I didn't say you weren't." Newman then fired off the comment, "Just watch what you say, man." Well, Gordon decided to try to turn and walk away, and I was hoping it was going to be the ending shot when he said, quote, "I said thanks for the help." Newman followed him for a couple of steps, and you said it as a smart blank, to which Gordon, who picked up his walking pace, retorted, "No, I didn't. You took it that way." The pair were shown later talking to each other again. What was said was not known. Neither driver has talked about it to this point, but for the most part, they seem to feel like they have put it behind them.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where you kind of look at it and go, I get the fact that you're part owner in Hendrick Motorsports, but there are better times and places for this than doing this in front of a whole bunch of people with cameras and microphones.
I got to say, I think Newman was carrying his left a little low. I think it's going to hurt him in the later rounds.
You're probably right. Denny Hamlin apparently couldn't let Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon have the entire spotlight.
Of course
just
not.
speaking their minds.
No. Exactly.
What's the old phrase here? I'm going to do something stupid. Oh, you think that's stupid? Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Here comes Denny.
But that's when you turn on Snapchat.
Yeah. Hamlin recently gave an interview where he claimed NASCAR drivers deserve to be paid on the level of an NFL or NBA player. Now, players in those two leagues, Major League Baseball for that matter, are regularly, especially if you're one of the top performers, we'll put it that way.
Superstar.
Since we got drivers and then players.
Yeah.
If you're one of the top performers in your particular sport, we've seen drivers that make 20, 25 million a year, but that includes things like their sponsorship money. Okay?
Right.
Their base salary is much lower.
Yeah.
All right, and Matt being our resident driver, he would know this.
Yeah.
A lot of the money that these drivers take home is from their sponsorship money. Okay? But you get players out there, and I'm trying to think of one. Kirk Cousins from the Washington Redskins signed a one-year deal as a franchise tagged player with the Washington Redskins of about $23 million.
Yeah.
To play quarterback.
Yeah.
I'll ride the bench for $1 million. Okay?
Yeah. There are players
I would for 500,000.
Yeah, there are players in Major League Baseball right now that are making $20 million plus a year. There are players in the NBA that are signing 10-year, $200+ million contracts.
Yes.
So we're seeing this a lot. Let's face it, that's a lot of cash in salary alone. That's a lot of cash.
A bunch.
Okay.
Usually I would go somewhere with that, but I'm not this week.
Hamlin was quoted during the interview, said, quote, "We're way underpaid as race car drivers. There's no doubt. Doing what we do, the schedule we have, the danger that we incur every single week. NASCAR drivers should be making NBA, NFL money." Well, NASCAR doesn't have a mandatory pay scale. It means no minimum, which all major sports do by now. They, baseball.
Well, NASCAR
football,
breaks the mold. I mean,
yeah, there's no minimum here.
we like how things are.
But there's also no ceiling. And the only other sport based here in the United States that can say that is Major League Baseball. They don't have a salary cap.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Yeah.
But there's a bigger problem in NASCAR where despite locked-in TV deals that run through 2024, bringing NASCAR in about $800 million annually, teams report that their money intake, about 75% of it comes from sponsorship, only a small portion coming from their cut of NASCAR's television deals. Hamlin thinks NASCAR needs to rework that. Quote, "There's got to be a reset, and it doesn't come from the drivers. It comes from NASCAR helping teams survive on a better basis. There just has to be different revenue sharing." Agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Go for it.
Right now, I think the least concern at this exact moment should be what we're getting paid, and let's get the product going the way that it needs to.
Matt?
Go ahead and get ready to do it again. I agree with you.
Oh, hello. Shocked face.
Fully agree with you.
Shocked face.
I'm going to steal a line from Bill Belichick. Just go do your job.
Just do your job.
Do your job.
And see, and that's the other thing. Okay, I know he thinks that they should have that kind of money. There was a TV show a few years back. You know, they had the MTV Cribs where everybody just rubbed in your face what exactly they had and how much they had and how big their pool was and their waterfall and caverns and all that stuff. And then we had the NASCAR edition.
Yeah, I remember.
Sorry, Denny. I think you make enough money, buddy.
Here's the thing, and I agree with both of you on this. And the biggest reason why is what we have been talking about here over the last 2 or 3 years, really. We have seen a decrease in viewership overall on television, and we have been noting, not necessarily at Talladega, which has been doing very, very well, and we appreciate that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But by and large, we have seen a decrease, and we've reported it here. International Speedway Corporation, which owns a good number of the tracks that NASCAR runs on, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated has noted this as well. They own Charlotte Motor Speedway, for example, that we're going to be at this weekend. They've noted a decrease in ticket sales. NASCAR's got some things that they need to fix before they start thinking about coming up with some sort of minimum salary scale for the drivers.
But the problem with that is the fact that Hamlin has now opened that can of worms, so to speak.
Unfortunately, yes.
Now the entire focus of all the media is going to be asking each and every driver, what do you think, how do you feel, and everything else, because one person decided to say, hold my beer, watch this.
Yep. No, he didn't open the can of worms. He took it, threw it on a rock, and just watched it explode.
Yeah.
The way I see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Way to put, that's a good way to put it.
And that's the thing. You got to get the product going. We need to get the fans back. We need to get the racing going. I think we're seeing a great surge now with the fact that now people are starting to see that things are a little different, and we're going to start seeing, but you have to let it happen before you start going and throwing all of your money towards everything, because then you're left with nothing. And then guess what, Denny Hamlin? Would you like paper or plastic?
Yeah. Good luck with it. We're going to take a break, but one thing, you may note this here if you watch the racing this weekend. Officials with Charlotte Motor Speedway continuing to play with their plans to run what they're calling the Roval, the first ever road course race in the playoffs planned for next season, which is going to use that infield road course.
I want to see your difference in this, so we're going to talk about it.
There's more. The infield road course has been slightly altered, as fans are going to see this weekend. Got a new chicane that's being finalized in the infield area through the tri-oval. So coming out of turn number 4, you'll see a little loop there. In addition, the grass in that part of the infield has been replaced with field turf.
Turfing.
They did. Now, there is a purpose for this field turf. If you end up hitting this grass, it is set up specifically to where it will slow the cars down more than natural grass.
Yeah, but do we get to see the cool flying of grass through the air?
No, you'll see the little pieces of rubber like you do
that's about it.
in NFL games when they drag their foot.
Going back to the Daytona 500, seeing Kurt Busch's car with the big wad of grass sitting on it. I mean, that was awesome.
It's see a dust cloud of sand.
Yes, exactly.
Now you just see rubber.
Yep. There's a chicane on the backstretch just before turn 3 on the oval portion of the course, all meant to slow the cars down a little bit. Ultimately means that the course is going to be, at least in this particular phase, 2.42 miles long, 18 turns. Turns 6 through 10 will form this little snake back through the infield from the end of the traditional pit road to turn 1 of the traditional tri-oval track. Pit road for the Roval course will begin just off of turn 4 on the traditional track. Turn 15 in road course form. Racers re-entering will be just before turn 3 on the road course, and again, all subject to change.
What are you thinking about the changes that they've made so far now that we're seeing that chicane out there? Because before it was just coming off of on to 2 out back and then coming around. Now that they've had those changes there, what are you thinking about the new overall look of that?
I'm intrigued. I haven't seen this in person. I've only watched the A.J. Allmendinger testing video when these changes weren't made necessarily. I'm intrigued by it, but I would, with all due respect to Charlotte and with all due respect to NASCAR, I think if we were going to do some sort of road course, I'd rather see it on a traditional road course.
Would you like to go next, Matt? Or would you like to save your
I'll save
fury for last?
I'll save.
You save?
Right,
I'm not intrigued. I'm not...
I want a road course. So I'm happy. That's where
I want one as well. That's the only reason that I am intrigued. The reason I'm not is that's not what I was thinking we were going to get.
Yeah.
I was thinking we were going to actually get an actual road course. Watkins Glen, Sonoma, anything.
Yeah, Virginia
I won't
International
go make
Raceway,
you a
Mid-Ohio,
course.
Elkhart Lake, Road Atlanta.
And
Road
that's,
America.
and that's the thing. We are hoping to see the series go back to another track. A lot of tracks have 2 chances each year: Talladega, Charlotte, Dover. But the thing is we only see a Watkins Glen once.
One time.
We only see a Sonoma once.
Yeah.
Maybe those tracks even better. Swap them each year. That way,
There you are.
Spread the wealth.
Yeah.
So that's my thought, and I'm sticking to it. Now, our resident driver expert, Matt. Go ahead.
I am. You're not intrigued?
Okay.
I'm past not intrigued.
Okay. So is there like a negative intrigue?
Yes.
So if we hooked you up to an EKG, it would be flatline.
No,
I think it would be below
under-
flatline. It'd be below flatline. I don't like it.
What is it? I mean, with the changes that they put in now with the chicane and everything that they have, does that give you maybe a little bit more of a, okay, there's a slight incy possibility?
Yeah. All right. The chicane coming out of 4. I get that part of trying to break the speed because what did I very first say when they previewed the layout of the Roval?
There's going to be a mess right here.
A mess in the start-finish line, and that is going to be a high breaking point.
Yep.
All
We
right.
saw that with A.J. Allmendinger when he did practice.
They eliminated that high breaking point. You don't want to see a mad dash to the start-finish line coming off of turn 4 of a 1.5-mile oval, 175, 180 miles an hour, and have to go to 30 just to make that left-hand turn to go hit the infield
And we'd be
course.
seeing a lot of tire smoke and a lot of flat spotting.
There wouldn't be a lot of speed in the turn either in 3 and 4.
No.
Because you've got that other little chicane there as well. So it's kind of like.
So they've
They
added,
added that chicane too now.
Yeah, they've
Right.
added it
That's
on
what I'm
both
saying.
ends
So
of
you're
the
not
turn
having-
3 and 4 that we're familiar with the oval.
You're not seeing any speed in that turn whatsoever. You're not
Yeah.
getting anything. So now it's just very, very driving Miss Daisy-esque type. You'll drive around.
I don't know about that.
All right,
Miss Daisy ain't going to have a ride like this, I'll tell you that.
Charlotte, this race next year, you'll be lucky to see speeds of 145 broken with those 2 chicanes added now.
Yeah.
If they hadn't put them in, you'd be braking at 175 probably at least.
Major messes.
Big mess.
Very
Big
interesting.
mess.
When we come back, we have got some Xfinity Series news here. Daniel Hemrick, a playoff contender, is going to lose his crew chief, and it's not just for one race. We'll tell you how long and why when we come back on the Championship Racing Network.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Renaissance Bank in Childersburg and the Championship Racing Network invite you to join them for the Pinko Wing Chili Cook-Off on October 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right, Friday the 13th. For just $5, you get a bowl of chili with all the fixings, chips or crackers, a cookie, and a drink, and add on a candy apple or cotton candy for just $2. Plus so many other activities like a raffle for 2 Slosses Furnace VIP tickets, plus other giveaways and prizes. All proceeds from the event benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's October 13th at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg with support from Radio Alabama.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffer from PTSD. In 2013, I did my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the Championship Racing Network here on Radio Alabama's YA 106.5 and WYEA 1290 online, WYEA.net. Also through the app, the YA 106.5 app for smartphones and tablets, coming to you live from the J&M Tank Line Studios. And we had a very interesting conversation before the break.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Talking about Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes, we did.
Then there's next weekend.
Then there's next weekend.
Talladega Superspeedway.
There is. That's right. There's a race next weekend, isn't there?
For those of you that are checking us out through our Facebook app, facebook.com/Championship Racing Network,
They're like fans.
you can see that we have in our hands some passes.
Fans holding fans.
Yes, some passes to Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah.
This will be practice day, which is Friday, October the 13th. Friday the 13th.
That's a fun day for the rest of us.
That's right. We're going to have a good time out there, and I've got 2 pairs.
You've got 2 pairs.
I got 4 passes right here.
4 passes.
All right. Then there's
we're gonna do this?
Saturday.
It's 4. Okay.
Saturday's Camping World Truck Series Day, Saturday the 14th.
Truck Day.
Fred's 250, powered by Coca-Cola.
On the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway.
Yep. We got 2 pairs there.
2 pairs.
And then there's, of course, the big race. That's Sunday.
The one, the only, the Alabama
500. Got a pair of passes to that.
Playoffs. Yes.
I say.
And they're very pretty because they have a great guy on there.
That's
because
true.
it's his last ride.
It is the last ride of one Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Talladega.
At Talladega.
So if you would like to go,
If you would like to go,
you can win.
we're going to come up with something.
I think we should do it through our Facebook account.
We're going to do it through the Facebook. Yeah. After the show.
Yes. So
Yeah. If you
be
want
prepared.
to you want to try and win some Talladega tickets,
Yep.
you better get on the Facebook page, Championship Racing Network, and
On
click
Facebook.
like, because you might want to be tuned in for that.
Yep, be prepared. 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. You will find out the way through our Facebook page.
We will show you the way.
All right, Xfinity Series news. Playoff contender Daniel Hemrick is going to be without his crew chief, his car chief, and his car engineer.
Well, at least he's not out without his tires.
Yeah, really. Well, he's close. It appears that a weight came loose from the car in practice leading up to Saturday's race, and that is a big no-no, according to NASCAR.
What was that? What? It was a what?
Big. Rulebook specifies that should a weight come out of a car, the crew chief and all responsible crew members get 4 races on the sidelines for such an infraction, and it is unlikely this penalty will be appealed. Meantime, business is business. Would you like to comment on that, by the way?
Because it was just so obvious. You can't appeal that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say more. There was kind of a grunt there.
At least he didn't lose his whole car.
That's very true. That is...
Business is business, so Richard Childress Racing now starting to settle on their 2018 driver lineup, reportedly bringing back Daniel Hemrick, who will continue to drive the number 21 Chevy Camaro. The team has also signed one Matt Tifft away from Joe Gibbs Racing for 2018.
I like this.
Tifft is slated to drive the number 2 Camaro. He's in his rookie series in the Xfinity Series, rookie season with Joe Gibbs Racing. He is a playoff contender, so they're getting themselves quite the little hot shoe there.
I like this move.
Alex Bowman slated to take over the number 88 Chevrolet in the Monster Energy Cup Series next year, but before he does that, he will get a couple more rides this year in the Xfinity Series. Not with Hendrick Motorsports or their affiliate. I use that term loosely.
Yeah,
Junior
that's all the
Motorsports.
air quotes.
It's going to be with Chip Ganassi Racing.
Still Chevy.
Yep. And Chip Ganassi Racing has a technical alliance with Hendrick, so he's going to be in Hendrick equipment anyway. He's going to take over the number 42 Chevrolet Camaro this weekend at Charlotte, so later today, and again at Phoenix later on in the season. Premium Motorsports is trying to figure out their 2018 driver lineup. While the Cup Series operation isn't close to making their decision, they have decided to retain Ross Chastain and the number 4 Chevrolet Camaro for 2018. They're going to team him with Gary Keller for full-time rides. Chastain's been in the Xfinity Series since 2015, beginning with JD Motorsports, team that's now JDM Motorsports, co-owned property between the former JD Motorsports and Premium. So Ross Chastain and Gary Keller full-time next year.
We'll see how that goes.
Camping World Truck Series crew chief for Matt Crafton is now poorer by $2,500. Fined by NASCAR that amount when it was determined the number 88 Toyota Tundra had a loose lug nut following last Saturday night's Las Vegas race.
That lug nut.
Every time. National Motorsports Appeals Panel has denied the appeal of Kyle Busch Motorsports related to penalties leveled following the New Hampshire Motor Speedway event. The penalties were because NASCAR didn't like the rear brake cooling assembly on the number 51 Toyota Tundra driven by Todd Gilliland. Kevin Mannion fined $5,000, suspended from the next race, but because they appealed, called the shots at Vegas. Now he's going to have to sit out the next Camping World Truck Series event, Talladega, next weekend, unless KBM officials file the second and what would be final appeal on the ruling to the NASCAR Motorsports Final Appeals Officer. One guy, quick, what he says goes. Don't care whether you agree with it or not. Kyle Busch Motorsports hasn't said whether they're going to file that second appeal or not yet.
Do you see them filing the second appeal?
I don't see where they're going to get any traction over what they just got.
That's true. Matt?
I agree.
I agree too. Look at that. We all agree.
We agree twice in a day.
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that NASCAR's got some things they got to work out in relation to the comments of Denny Hamlin. Earlier this week, Brian France talked to SiriusXM Satellite's NASCAR Channel's Trading Paint Show, talked about a number of subjects, including what we've talked about plenty of times, the potential addition of a new car maker or maybe more than one.
Yes.
Related this time, he says that 2 auto manufacturers are showing interest, saying, quote, there's 2 that have shown a lot of interest and are examining just how you go about it. It's hard to do, hard to come in and get the right teams. They all want to come in, compete at a very high level as fast as they can, which makes the challenge even harder. There are 2. We'll see how it plays out. Our preference would be able to add 1 more. Interesting, the other car manufacturers are open to that too. My hope is that as soon as it can work out, we'll add a 4th. We'll have to see how that goes. We have speculated quite a bit as to who that potential 4th one is.
Or who we'd like to see it be.
The most obvious one seems to be Dodge with Ram trucks.
Yes.
But we have also been hearing a lot of noise about Nissan.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, and we've heard Volkswagen. I tend to kind of hedge my bets on that one. Some people have mentioned Honda, but I think Honda's got their hands full trying to deal with Formula One and IndyCar.
Does Volkswagen even have a truck?
They don't. No. They've got SUVs, but they have no pickup.
So how'd the race go today, Dustin? Well, my Volkswagen Yugo did real good out there on the banks.
So we've heard a lot of stuff. To me, Dodge and Ram are the 2 most likely choices, and we heard Sergio Marchionne, head of Fiat Chrysler, talking about it earlier on this year, saying that he felt that they might want to get back into NASCAR as well. So now it's just a time thing at this point in time. And it's not going to happen next year, obviously. We know that. It's way too late in the season to be able to say, hey, we're going to be on track for 2018.
I've got something else for your Volkswagen.
By all means.
We could get them sponsored by the Mellow Mushroom.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
My mellow
It's easy for you
mushroom
to say.
Volkswagen Yugo did absolutely great today.
Really quickly now that I think about this, you want to talk about
Tie-Dye Enterprises,
one of the biggest growing car sales segments out there, and you've got one. It's SUVs.
Well, yeah.
How long before NASCAR or somebody decides to put an SUV series out there? Because Volkswagen could take part in that.
Can we enter the Jeep?
A Jeep would be able to enter into it.
No, can we enter my Jeep? Not anybody else's
Chevy
Jeep.
could do it. Ford could do it.
Got an engine for you.
They all could do it. Oh, gosh. Man. I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah, I am too. Moving on.
Yeah.
Could we technically see an SUV series?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that could happen.
I think it could.
I mean, it
question
could.
is will it?
No. I don't. I don't see that. And no.
Okay.
No.
I got you.
I mean, the aerodynamics alone would just be fun to try and deal with. I mean, look at how big the back end of an SUV is.
Oh, good night.
Talk about punching a hole in the air of the plate track.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of sad news came out on Monday. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier following the word of the Las Vegas tragedy from Sunday night into Monday when we really got a whole lot of news about it. Monday, we learned of the death of singer-songwriter Tom Petty, and also word of the death of NASCAR legend Robert Yates. Now, Yates is slated to go into the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the upcoming 2018 class, but unfortunately is not going to be there to be inducted in person. Yates was born April 19th, 1943 in Charlotte, North Carolina, one of 9 children. He's also a twin. His brother is Richard. They were all the son of a reverend. Now, Robert got interested in racing at a very young age. 1950s, he actually had his own dragster. Ended up moving in with his sister during his teens. Graduated as an all-A student from Wake Forest High School in 1961. From there, attended Wilson Technical College, graduating with a degree in mechanical engineering in 1964. Yates got into NASCAR in the early 1970s, started building engines for another NASCAR legend, Junior Johnson, in 1971, before starting his own NASCAR operation in 1989 as he bought the assets of the Rainier Lundy racing operation in late 1988 and kept their driver, a guy who Alabama people know quite well, Davey Allison. Signed on with that team 2 years later, kept the number 28, or 2 years earlier, Davey Allison did. He kept the number 28, kept Davey Allison. It was a pairing that was highly successful between him buying the team in late 1988 and the helicopter accident that took Davey's life in 1993, July of that year. 15 wins, 2 top 5 points finishes. Robert Yates Racing would experience success over the next few years, most notably with Dale Jarrett, and when he added the second car, the 88, to his stable. Claimed a Cup Series title in 1999, got a Daytona 500 win as well. The 1999 title, though, the only championship that Yates would claim as a car owner. But he had several cars throughout his time in the Cup Series: 28, 88, 38, 90, 98. We'll get more on that in a moment. The 08 and the 36. Ended up claiming 56 total race wins over the course of the team's existence. In the 2000s, saw things shaking up a lot. The 28 was parked in 2003. Elliott Sadler signed on, drove the 38. He would then sell that team to his son, Doug Yates, announcing he was retiring in 2007. Gave the number 88 to Hendrick Motorsports. The 28 got pulled back out, but with drivers like Travis Kvapil, David Gilliland, the winning ways didn't quite come back. And with a lack of sponsorship for that 28, the second car being the number 98, driven by Paul Menard and sponsored by that driver's company, the team just couldn't continue. By then, Yates had simply become the overseer of the engine building operation, continuing a partnership he'd begun in 2004 when he and Jack Roush combined their engine departments, creating Roush-Yates Engines. Eventually, the Engine Works would supply engines to almost all the Ford NASCAR teams this season alone, powering 13 racers. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about Robert Yates and some of the things that he was able to accomplish right here on the Championship Racing Network.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
Choosing a bank is not an easy task. You're trusting your money and your future in the hands of strangers. At Renaissance Bank, you're no stranger. You're part of the family. Renaissance can meet all your banking needs with the tools you need to secure your family's financial future. They even have tools for your kids like student checking. No monthly maintenance fee on a balance of $500 or more, unlimited check writing, and open the account with just $50. Visit a branch today in Childersburg, Chelsea, or Sylacauga for more information. Give your kids the tools to have a prosperous and successful future. Online at RenaissanceBank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffer from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Renaissance Bank in Childersburg and the Championship Racing Network invite you to join them for the Pinko Wing Chili Cook-Off on October 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right, Friday the 13th. For just $5, you get a bowl of chili with all the fixings, chips or crackers, a cookie, and a drink, and add on a candy apple or cotton candy for just $2. Plus so many other activities like a raffle for 2 Sloss's Furnace VIP tickets, plus other giveaways and prizes. All proceeds from the event benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's October 13th at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg with support from Radio Alabama. Your vehicle is your livelihood and you need it operating at peak performance. Sometimes those pesky gremlins attack your engine with a fury and at the worst possible time. The certified auto and diesel technicians at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center are ready to fight off those gremlins. Whether you're in the family car delivering the kids to practice or in your big rig delivering supplies or goods to your clients, you can depend on Camp Creek Auto and Truck to keep you moving down the road. There's no job too big or small at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center, Highway 78 in Moody. Call them today, 205-640-1558.
The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers and Danica, start your engines!
Pull those belts down tight. One more time. Warm up those tires. Hit your marks. And let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, NHRA, and local dirt track and drag strip racing talk. This is the Championship Racing Network.
Where'd you go? Where's your home? How'd you end up all alone? Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Now, here's Steve West, Dustin Harmer, and Matt Nicholson with producer John Myers.
Into hour number 2 of the Championship Racing Network here, based out of the J&M Tank Line Studios here at WYEA in Sylacauga, Alabama.
Halfway home.
Broadcasting all around the world.
The world.
Via your smartphone app,
Yeah.
which you can get for iTunes or Google Play. Look up WYEA. It's free. Download
Free.
it. You can listen to us anywhere, anytime.
That's right.
You can also catch us on Facebook, facebook.com/Championship Racing Network, where we're running Facebook Live right now.
Hi.
So by all means, join us, won't you? When we left you, I am Steve West. That's Dustin Harmer, and that is Matt Nicholson. And we were talking about Robert Yates during his time in NASCAR. Claimed one championship as a car owner. Talked about that 1999 with Dale Jarrett. His engines had already won titles going back to 1983 with Bobby Allison. We're going to be talking to his brother Donnie here in just a couple of minutes. And then won a couple with Darrell Waltrip in the mid-1980s. November of 2016, though, is when we started to really find out what was going on with Robert. He announced he had been diagnosed with cancer of the liver. His spirits were given a bit of a lift when he found out in May this year that he had been selected as one of 5 members of the 2018 NASCAR Hall of Fame class. Then in August, told media that a doctor had told him to gather his family and make plans for hospice care because he only had about a month to live. And then, strangely, about 4 hours later, doctors said that the terminal diagnosis had been, well, a little presumptuous and given out too soon.
Yep.
Yates said after that, quote, "I need both doctors, but I also need a little cheerleading, too." So we all sent our thoughts and our prayers out to him, but eventually liver cancer just got the end of him.
Yep.
Monday evening, it was reported by his family he passed away due to the disease. Robert Yates was 74 years old. Most of the cars, if not all of the cars this weekend in both the Xfinity and the Cup Series will have decals on them honoring Robert Yates.
They've been putting the decals on social media already. We've been seeing them on Instagram. We've been seeing them on Facebook. And that's the one thing about the NASCAR community. Whenever we lose somebody, especially and within so ingrained in the community.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't matter how ingrained they are, especially the likes of Robert
and all
Yates.
those things that separate you.
Yeah.
And these are drivers who they get very competitive when they're out there on the track, but by and large, they're friends when they get away from the track here. And your small things of sponsorship, or whether you drive for Ford or Chevy or Toyota, all that stuff just kind of goes away, and you realize something here. We've lost a man who was such a big figure in NASCAR from 1971, really up to this day when you talk about Roush Yates engines.
The definition of a staple in a garage.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most respected guys when it came to not just being a car owner, but an engine builder and knowing how to make these cars work.
Yeah.
Robert Yates was that guy, and he will be missed. There's no doubt.
I had the privilege of meeting him in 2000 at a Hall of Fame dinner in Talladega, and you could not talk to a nicer gentleman.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
There are those guys that are just like that. Robert Yates was one of them.
Yep.
It's great to know. Initial findings on the plane crash took the life of NASCAR Modified Series Tour champion Ted Christopher now show that residents around the Connecticut town where the plane crashed didn't hear anything except for the crash itself. So that would tend to tell us that the motor was
Engine
not
failure.
fired at that point in time. The plane reported to have had enough fuel for its flight plan. The pilot, while older, 81-year-old Charlie Dundas, was not only an experienced pilot but a licensed flight instructor. The NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, says they're continuing their investigation. I'll talk about this thing going on with the Alabama gang coming up here in just a little bit when we are joined by our guest coming up here in about 10 minutes, give or take.
It's going to be great.
We're going to have Alabama gang member Donnie Allison with us here shortly.
Great to have Donnie on today.
To the NHRA, as the season winds down, the attendance is picking up. As we saw last year, despite the majority of the events now being shown live either on the Fox network or the cable outlet Fox Sports 1, attendance in the championship push led to numerous sellouts last year. Another one happened just last weekend at Gateway Motorsports Park. And the thought that it's likely that the final events will either be close to it or sellouts themselves, and showing the NHRA is making a massive rebound in the racing world.
They are.
Their television ratings are going up.
Look at
their
their
attendance
crowds.
at the tracks are going up.
Amazing the way that they're getting things going.
And the reason why? They're setting records, folks.
That's right.
Clay Millican just last weekend, a brand new national record, set a new top fuel and overall NHRA ET record. Marking himself as the number one qualifier going into the the finals last weekend, pushed his racer to a 3.631 ET at 330.39 miles per hour. That beat the record set by Leah Pritchett just earlier this season at Brainerd, Minnesota. Back in August, she ran a 3.640. 9 1,000ths. The speed, by the way, wasn't even close. Brittany Force actually pulled a run of 333.66 miles per hour to run into Kansas back in May.
Does wonders for your wrinkles.
Gosh. Yeah, no kidding. The G-force is unreal.
There's nothing wrong with my face anymore.
Yes. Preliminary 2018 schedule for the Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series has been released. Shows fewer back-to-back racing weekends, something the drivers and the teams were pushing for. 24 races in all, 18 regular season races, and then the 6 playoff or countdown challenge races. It begins and ends as it did, as usual, Pomona, California. Runs from February to November. The new schedule for the run to the championship, though, has the 2 opening races, Maple Grove and Gateway Motorsports Park, back-to-back weekends. Give them a weekend off. Then give them 2 back-to-backs, Dallas and Charlotte, before getting another weekend off. And then Las Vegas and Pomona back-to-back weekends to wrap up the season and crown the 2018 champion. They need travel time. We're talking about a lot of travel here from Maple Grove in Pennsylvania to just outside of St. Louis, Missouri for the first 2 races, Texas and North Carolina for the second round of races, and then Nevada and California for the third. You're racking up miles.
That you are.
That's frequent driver miles.
Yeah.
Frequent hauler miles. Hauler miles.
Yeah, so they needed definitely to kind of simplify that.
I drove from Maryland to Texas. Yeah, well, do it from New York to Texas to California to Michigan to Florida, back to Maryland.
Good luck, pal. NHRA officials have also announced the Pro Stock Car Series is going to undergo some slight changes in 2018. Pro Stock is still set to compete at all 24 events in the Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series calendar for 2018, but they're not going to run full or 16-car qualifying fields as we know them all year long. For 9 select events, there's only going to be 8-car finals.
Hello.
The other 15 events will have full 16-car finals. They've been concentrating here lately because they've been very overshadowed in recent years by Top Fuel and Funny Car. They've just been the banner carriers, and Pro Stock has just been kind of left off to the side there and almost forgotten about. So the NHRA is trying to rebuild some interest in that particular set.
You bringing that fact up, as a matter of fact, Montgomery Motorsports Park. We got a chance to visit there as we went down. We saw Five Flag Speedway.
Yeah,
we did a little tour as we went down to Florida and
we
back.
Need to look here.
Hey, look, another track. Let's stop in. Oh, they're closed. Oh, well, we can kind of look still.
Sure.
But we stopped in there. They actually posted something up on their Facebook page, on their social media, that was actually talking about this actual thing right here.
So we'll see whether it works. NHRA has been working with the teams doing things to try to build things up, switch to fuel-injected engines, which kind of helped them on the gas mileage thing a little bit. But most importantly, probably, and for the fans here, because these are cars. This isn't like, Top Fuel, which the engine basically sits out and everybody can see it. You have to do a whole lot of stuff to reveal the engine in a funny car.
Yeah.
So they have them all backed into their pit stalls so that the fans can literally, as they go through the pits, walk by and watch them working on the cars where they couldn't before.
Right.
Things that, for the fans, holding burnout contests, things like that. So they're doing a lot of stuff like that. NHRA going Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Postseason awards ceremony is going to be in Hollywood Monday, November the 13th. Ceremony is going to be held at the Roy Dolby Ballroom. It's at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland in downtown Hollywood.
Righto.
Invitation only?
Invitation only.
Black tie affair.
Are we on the list?
We are not. Yet.
Nikki.
NHRA will present the 4 title winners in the Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series with their trophies and their reward money, and then there will be an after party. We're going to take over the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah. We need tickets.
Yeah.
We need to get on that.
IndyCar officials, they're backing up their statements about the 2017 television ratings, reiterating that the ratings with the NBC Sports Network jumped up in 2017. Numbers show the races shown on the cable outlet up over 3% over 2016. And 2016 was a record-setting year for IndyCar on NBC Sports Network.
Not bad.
Yep.
As for the half a dozen races shown on ABC, those numbers were actually down 9% from 2016. But IndyCar officials state that probably is because their biggest race, the Indy 500, was shown on a tape-delayed basis in Indianapolis.
Tape delayed in Indy.
Whereas in Indy in 2016, the Indy 500 was sold out for the 100th running of it. It wasn't quite a sellout this year. So they showed it on a tape-delayed basis. IndyCar officials also noted major jumps in their online presence. 8.4 million views of their live online content. That's a 4-fold increase from 2016.
Wow.
Added that the number of visits to their homepage, IndyCar.com, have increased 25% over 2016. Unique visitors up 27% from a year ago.
We're unique visitors.
Twitter engagement for IndyCar up almost 400% from 2016.
real quick, when you look at the social media side of things, I know we're getting ready to take a break.
Yeah.
But you look at the social media side of things.
Yeah.
And Twitter and Instagram are going nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook's still strong.
And
but
Facebook is still strong, too. To back that up, they noted that their Facebook followers increased from the end of the season in 2016 to the end of the season 2017 by 250,000 people.
See, that's huge. But, I mean, Twitter is so... It's there. I
Yeah.
mean, there is so much funneling through there.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook, the way that they kind of have their news feed set up and everything else, it's kind of messing with people's minds.
It really is.
And it makes people mad.
Yeah.
Twitter, you can't mess that up.
Zuckerberg.
They even have a little box that's not right in front of your face, but it's
Yeah.
there. It says, you may have missed this. But they don't force it on you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's so immediate. It's so then. It's like you're part of what's going on at that exact moment. Wherever they are, whatever's going on with the team signings, team announcements, you're there.
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations to them. We need to take a break.
Yes, we do.
When we come back,
We got to have a phone call.
yep, we're going to have a phone call on these airwaves, and
Yes.
we're going to be talking with legendary Alabama gang member Donnie Allison.
That's
Want
right.
to talk to him about Robert Yates. Want to talk to him about his viewpoint on the famed 1979 Daytona 500.
Maybe we can get a pick for the Monster Energy Cup Series championship this year.
Yeah, we can talk to him about that, talk about what's going on in his life, and talk about what's going to be happening Monday a week from now, the day after Talladega and the Alabama 500. He and Bobby Allison and Red Farmer and Larry McReynolds are all taking part in a very special event in the Birmingham area.
Yes.
We'll talk about all that and more with Donnie Allison on the Championship Racing Network next.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Renaissance Bank in Childersburg and the Championship Racing Network invite you to the Pinkoween Chili Cook-Off on October 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. For just $5, get a bowl of chili with all the fixins, sides, and a drink. Add on a candy apple or cotton candy for just $2. Stop in and see Bobby G of the 50s at 5, plus great raffles for gift cards to area businesses, Sloss's Furnace, Paparazzi Jewelry, 31 bags, and more. Raffle tickets are on sale now at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg. $2 each or $15 for just $10. All proceeds from the event benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's October 13th at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg with support from Radio Alabama.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffer from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Choosing a bank is not an easy task. You're trusting your money and your future in the hands of strangers. At Renaissance Bank, you're no stranger. You're part of the family. Renaissance can meet all your banking needs with the tools you need to secure your family's financial future. They even have tools for your kids like student checking. No monthly maintenance fee on a balance of $500 or more, unlimited check writing, and open the account with just $50. Visit a branch today in Childersburg, Chelsea, or Sylacauga for more information. Give your kids the tools to have a prosperous and successful future. Online at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
2 tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the Championship Racing Network here on Yay 106.5 and WYEA 1290, coming to you live from the J&M Tank Line Studios. Online, you can find us on the online stream, WYEA.net. Of course, you can also find us on the app, the Yay 106.5 app for smartphones and tablets. This segment of the show brought to you in part by our great friends at Renaissance Bank for all your personal and financial needs, whether it be personal or business. It's definitely the folks that you want to count on, and that's Renaissance Bank. You can find them. You can stop in and see Janice, Russell, Rashonda, and all the girls down there at the 8th Avenue Southwest branch in Childersburg of Renaissance Bank. Great to have them on board. And, of course, they're the official bank of the Championship Racing Network. RenaissanceBank.com. Let's drop in today.
I'm Steve West, Dustin Harmer, Matt Nicholson,
Hello.
and one Donnie Allison joining us here. And Donnie Allison, well known to folks here in the state of Alabama. 10 wins in his time in the Cup Series, 18 poles, 115 top 10s, and a guy who was very, very... he was a central figure, let's just say, and probably the most famous Daytona 500 of all time. Welcome into the show, Donnie. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. Glad to have you on board here. And we're going to talk about all of that coming up here in just a little bit. And we got a great event coming up in Birmingham. But first things first, we just got done talking about the life and times of Robert Yates. And I don't know how much dealings that you had, but I know that NASCAR is a pretty close community there. Tell us a little bit about your memories about Robert Yates.
Well, I was very, very close to Robert. From way back in his days at Holman and Moody. My first factory ride in 1966 was 67 was with Holman and Moody, and he was there working on engines at that time. That's when I met him. He was a young man too at that time, and then the history of it, he got hooked up with Davey.
Right.
He built engines for Harry Vernier. And Harry Vernier was going to go out of business, or out of the racing business anyway. And they got to talking about Robert buying the team, and Davey looked at him and said, "You buy it, and I'll drive it."
Nice.
so that's the way that transpired. And he's been a very, very, very close family friend the whole time. Him and Carolyn and Doug and all of the whole family. We've been very close.
Very, very cool. As far as what we've been seeing in NASCAR, obviously things have changed a lot since you started your first race back in 1966 to now. What do you think about the current state of NASCAR?
Well, they've made the racing better. They went through a period there that wasn't very good at all. In fact, a year ago, February, I was in a meeting or in a conversation with Jim France, Pat, and I, and I told him, I said, if you don't get rid of the car tomorrow, it's going to get rid of NASCAR. And he said, we're working on that. And they did that.
So they've actually been talking with some of the veterans here, like you and the drivers who have been in the series for a long time, and they're getting your opinions on what they need to do?
They do that. They may not agree with it as much as we'd like for them to. The difference is, people ask me every day, or tell me every day racing has changed. I said, no. Racing's still the same. It starts with the green flag and it ends with the checker. And I said that part of it's never changing. But the car deal, the way the cars have gone, the drivers, the whole situation is 2017 model. And a lot of people don't agree with it, and the old times are never coming back. The way we used to race a long time ago, the way that Bobby'd outrun me on Saturday night or Sunday, and I'd go home and do something to my car, come back next week and outrun him, and that part's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate in a lot of ways, though.
Well, we and what's done all this is the evil that we have to have, the money.
True.
The big time money gets into the sport, and that really governs what happens.
Now, Donnie, how many times have you been sitting there on your couch and you're watching the racing and all, and how many times have you kind of said to yourself, or you've looked at your wife, Pat, and you said, I could get in there and show him how to do it the right way?
Well, not as frequently as I did a couple of years back. I'm not a very good spectator right now. I get a little aggravated sometimes, and both with the cars and with the young drivers. These guys complaining and make 10 times as much money in a week than I made in a year. And I mean, I guess that's the nature of all sports. Baseball, playing football, and all these guys are making as much money. Denny Hamlin came out with a thing in the paper day before yesterday that he felt like NASCAR drivers were underpaid. They ought to be paid the same as football players and basketball players.
Right.
Yep.
And here's a guy that signed a contract with Joe Gibbs and went that same day and bought a Learjet.
It's a very valid point.
Yeah,
valid point.
Were you ever able to own a plane, jet or not, during your time?
Bobby and I did own a Beach Baron together, a twin engine airplane together. He and I together, we owned that plane. That was back in 69 and 70. In fact, I didn't fly. I flew, but I never had a license.
Okay.
But the only time I really used that airplane for my own self was at Indy. I flew back and forth to Indy for practice and qualifying.
Mhm.
And the rest of the time he flew. It was he was the airplane guy in the family. That wasn't my cup of tea.
Right. And you and your brother Bobby, you actually ran a number of Indy 500s over that time. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were the 1971 Rookie of the Year for the Indy
I
500.
was 1970 rookie of the
70.
year. I ran 2 years, 70 and 71. Bobby actually ran 1 year, and he was the fastest qualifying rookie that year, but he only ran one lap of the race. The engine blew up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
At that point in time, does it seem like we had a lot more crossover back then as opposed to what we see now? Because, we'd see Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt running in Daytona 500s and things like that. Was there more crossover then?
well, yeah, and that was due to the difference in the cars. Everything is done by engineers now. It's not done by personal feeling or gain or whatever you might want to call it. They set a car up by computer and tell the driver, that's it, drive it.
Right.
Now, for you, back in the day when you got a chance to get in there and turn the wrenches and really work on the car, and it was a lot more of a personal feeling when you got into the car that you were going to race. Do you think that maybe they need to kind of turn some wrenches too? Maybe they need to get in there and do some stuff instead of just standing around and maybe get a little bit more personal back into that themselves?
Well, I don't know about so much as getting in there and turning the wrenches, but they need to be involved because that changes the confidence level, I think.
Yep, definitely.
And there's a lot of youngsters running right now that have a lot of ability to driving. The young ones in NASCAR, Chase Elliott, them guys, Kyle Larson, and all. I mean, the guys can do it. They got it. But and Kyle Larson may be a little bit exception to the rule because he has actually flew with some cars himself and done some work himself.
Yep.
But like right now, when they go to like Talladega next week, they won't have time from the time they run their car to do a lot of stuff because they'll have sponsor obligations and racetrack obligations and stuff like that, which we didn't have when we ran. Now, we had some obligations, but our obligation would be probably Monday or Tuesday after the race.
Right.
And the same thing. I drove a Cup car 18 years. And never one time in that whole 18 years did I get paid a salary.
Wow.
I drove for a percentage of what I won.
Okay.
And sometimes a 30%, sometimes 40%. And very few times 50%. And I paid my own expenses. And it was a different situation back then. And then when I got hurt in 81, that was about the time that the big sponsorship money really started coming in, and I never was able to get back in, to what I felt like was a competitive race car after that. But anyway, getting back to this day and time right now, they're working very diligently on trying to put the operation of the race car back in the mechanic and driver's hands.
Nice.
Yes, they are.
Talking with Donnie Allison here on the Championship Racing Network. Matt?
In your career, what was harder for you to drive in, the Indianapolis 500 or the Daytona 500?
Oh, the Daytona 500. Indy 500 to me wasn't hard. I liked the cars. I was fortunate. I had a rough month of practice and qualifying the first year, but and actually even the second year. But the races, I had a really good races both year. I finished fourth in 70 and sixth in 71. I was Rookie of the Year in 70, and I also ran races at other racetracks. I ran Pocono, I ran Ontario, I ran Milwaukee, and did decent about everywhere I ran. But anyway, as AJ used to say to me all the time, you're a taxi driver.
You mentioned Kyle Larson's name just a moment ago. When you look at NASCAR drivers of today, who are the drivers that you really, really look at and have a lot of respect for?
Well, the number one on my list is Joey Logano, and that comes from I helped him when he was 12 years old when he came down from Connecticut and started racing in the South. He got an Allison Legacy car and did quite well. And I helped him a little bit in the late model and what have you, and been very connected with the Logano's. Tom Logano and my oldest son and I own a business property in Bessemer.
Okay.
And I might be a little bit prejudiced that way, but then you got Kyle Larson and you got Brad Keselowski, you got Chase Elliott. I still can't understand for the life of me why he hasn't already won a race.
We were talking about that earlier in the show too.
Yeah, we were.
He's definitely got the ability. Okay, he's got the equipment, and for some reason or another, he hasn't cracked that spot. But I'll go out on a limb a little bit. When he does crack it, excuse me, get ready because he'll win a bunch of them.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah,
I
once he
guarantee it.
gets that first one,
that,
it's just going to be just like kind of Kyle Larson was. He got that first one, and then they started to come more. And then I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Donnie.
One of the main reasons we've got you on here is we've got a very special event coming up here in Birmingham at Vulcan Park, Monday, October the 16th, 5:30 p.m. It's being titled Southern Thunder, the legacy of the Alabama auto racing. Tell us a little bit about this event.
Well, they put this together, and Bobby Red and I are going to be there as, the official members of the Alabama gang, answering questions and taking part and getting pictures made with people and stuff like that. It's going to be quite a function. We just had one Thursday night at Charlotte Motor Speedway, believe it or not. They had a stage set up upstairs in the Speedway Club, and it was Richard Petty, Bobby, me, Dave Marcus, Wado Wilson, and Leonard Wood all sitting on the panel.
Wow.
And it was questions and answers and talking about the old days. I mean, you guys would have loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Now, this event's going to be much the same?
Yeah, I don't really know what the format's going to be, but it's going to be very, very good. And you'll get a lot of the truth, and you also get a few lies, I'm sure.
That can be fun, too, though.
You bringing that up, of course, Larry McReynolds going to be the moderator of the evening. Are you expecting some off-the-wall questions from Larry Mack?
Well, I don't know. It's I'm going to remind him that we were there doing that when he wasn't even here yet.
I want to kind of take you back a little bit real quick. First of all, your memories, because the first chance that I ever had to do PA announcing, which I do at Talladega Superspeedway on race weekends, was actually at the old Birmingham International Raceway. And now that it's gone, what are your memories there?
That was the best racetrack that I ever ran on. I loved it. I couldn't believe it when they tore it down. I went by Birmingham Auto Clean, my good friend John Bainbridge there in Birmingham, and he said, "Have you been by the fairgrounds?" I said, "No, I don't. I never went that way."
All right.
Go down Third Avenue. I go down Interstate 20, go to Bessemer, and then go on down to my farm. But I said, "No." He said, "You are not going to believe it."
Yeah.
He said, "You can see a little tiny, tiny bit of the corner asphalt, and that's it."
Right.
I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Everything is gone." So I left his place and went by the fairgrounds, and I couldn't believe that. I mean, I was shocked.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
That racetrack put on the best races anywhere in the world for about 6.5 years, 7 years.
Yeah, I truth be told, I very much missed the place. But one of the chances that I had was to talk to your brother Bobby. He had a book out right around 2005, 2006, as I remember, and he was talking about some racing. And, of course, the conversation came up on the 1979 Daytona 500. And the thing about your brother, he's very consistent, Bobby is, when he talks about the aftermath over there going into Turn 3 and how he says it every single time the same way, how Cale went to beating on Bobby's fist with Cale's face. And I've always found that interesting and a lot of fun, but the one thing that I've never really heard is Donnie Allison's look at the 1979 Daytona 500. Tell us about that from your perspective.
Well, I do the same thing as Bobby does. I tell the same story exactly every time. I ain't lying. It was a weird situation all day. It was a good race. You know, we wrecked early on and bent the cars up a little bit. Got mine straightened out. Cale got his straightened out. Bobby was virtually out of the race. I mean, he was there to get points in. And, you know, we had things transpire all day that was kind of really off the wall. Haas came on the radio to me. A caution came out, and Cale almost wrecked me, trying to beat me back to the finish line. And I let him make that lap up, you know, because he just about was to wreck me coming off turn 4. And so Haas come on the radio, and he says, don't worry about Cale. NASCAR says he's at least 5 laps down. Well, I really didn't pay any attention to that. We come in and made the pit, stopped, did everything, got up by the line, getting ready to come to the green. He comes on the radio again. He said, NASCAR just told me that Cale's in the same lap now.
Oh, wow.
So I said to him, I said, well, tell me something I don't already know. you don't about wreck a guy to make up a lap when you're 5 laps down.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, especially at Daytona. But anyway, so we went on and we run the race, and we had 5 laps to go. And they give us a 5-lap signal in the race, and I mashed the radio button, and I said to Haas, I said, y'all don't talk to me. I know where I'm at. I know what's going on. Do not jabber my, because they were bad about coming on the radio and saying, you see that pretty girl at the 5th row in the grandstand? You see that airplane? Haas Ellington would liable to say anything. I loved him better than my brothers, but he liable to come on and say anything. But anyway, I told him, don't talk to me. And I had pretty well, at that point, you know, figured it was going to be some chaos. But the normal procedure at Daytona would be off turn 4, coming for the checkered flag. So I won't say I had my guard let down a little bit, but I wasn't quite as ready for what I saw in turn 1 and 2. See, I never looked in my mirror in the corners. Ever did I do that. I never tried to move up in front of somebody or down in front of somebody or anything like that. And for some reason, in the middle of 1 and 2, I looked up in the mirror and I see him starting to go down. Oh, nope, you're not getting under me. This is what I say to myself. Nobody, you're not getting under me. You can have all the room outside you want, but you're not coming under me.
Okay.
And I did start to come down. Well, he ran into the back of me first. The back bumper, his front bumper on the right front hit my left rear bumper. And it did hit it enough to make me turn a little bit sideways. Well, I lifted a little bit when I did when he hit me in the door. It shows on TV, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Okay? Then the wreck really started. He goes in the infield and he comes out and he crashes inside of me. I never got out of the racetrack. Now, the last time he comes out of the infield, he's spinning dirt off the back tire. He's still wide open. And I said, okay, SOB, when we hit down here, we'll both be wide open.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there.
And we were. Well, we spin around and everything come down in the infield. And we get out and have a few words. And I mean, I'm mad, but I'm more hurt than I am mad. Because here I am, the 3rd time I should win the Daytona 500, and I'm sitting 3/4 of a mile from the start-finish line through all the crap. So the corner workers got there immediately because I guess they figured it was going to be a fiasco. Well, then Bobby shows up and he pulls up. He finishes the race. And he comes around the next lap and he stops on the apron, and he's about probably 35, 40 feet from us. And he yells at me, am I all right? Yeah, I'm standing out there. I mean, I ain't got my legs broke or nothing. I'm standing out there. I'm fine. And Cale's walking over to his car all this time. Well, Cale was far enough away from me that I couldn't hear what he was saying. He was facing Bobby, his back to me.
Okay.
And damn, all of a sudden, he smashes Bobby through the window with his helmet. So I grabbed Cale by the arm, and I spun him around. I said, you want to fight, you son of a bitch? I'm the guy you need to be fighting with. well, here comes Bobby. And I was raised with him. I seen that look before, and I knew it was going to happen. And that started the war then. And Keel hit him with his helmet, and Bobby, he went to kick Bobby, and Bobby grabbed his foot. That's how that picture got on the ground.
I remember that.
Anyway, from that, I never touched him. He never touched me, and I never touched him.
Understood.
And after the thing was all over, my mom looked at me. She says, "I'm not believing it was Bobby fighting, not you." And I said, "Mom, the good Lord looked at across 2 times today.
Yeah.
One time in the wreck, and the other time he never touched me. Because if he'd ever laid a hand on me, I'd have probably killed him. My dad had a very bad temper. He never lost it very much. When he lost it, you couldn't, and that's the way I am."
Okay.
And so, I mean, but that's it. And like I told everybody, and they had that great big thing when all the drivers up there and everything, and Eli Gold asked me what happened, and I said, "The Summits wrecked me." Pardon my French, everybody.
Nope, we got you.
No, that's fine.
Donnie Allison, Bobby Allison, Red Farmer, and Larry McReynolds going to be at Vulcan Park in Birmingham on Monday, October the 16th at 5:30, moderated by Larry McReynolds. Tickets are available right now, $15, $12 each if you happen to be a museum member to Vulcan Park, and they'll have refreshments on site. We look forward to seeing you there, Donnie. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, and somebody mentioned about Bobby having a book. I got a book. As I recall, I'll have it with me. If you hadn't got one, you got to get it and read it. It's the best racing book.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Because it's mine.
There you go.
That's right.
Tell us the title of the book.
As I recall.
As I recall.
As I recall.
Donnie, thank you so much. We hope to have you on again real soon.
All right. Call me anytime.
We'll do it.
Thanks,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Donnie Allison. Again, Vulcan Park coming up Monday, October the 16th. 5:30 p.m. Tickets available right now. $15, $12 if you happen to be a member of the Vulcan Park and Museum Club. Ran a little bit over, but you know what? Great chance.
Was awesome. That's great to talk to him.
Matt and Dustin will take you the rest of the way.
Yes, we will.
Right here on the Championship Racing
Blue Boy
Network.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Starting a business can be a hassle. The most important part of that starts with the right bank to take care of your business's financial future. Renaissance Bank is ready with the tools you need to not only establish your company, but grow your current company. With multiple business accounts, Renaissance can make sure that you have the right account to fit your needs. Skip the hassles and visit Renaissance Bank on 8th Avenue Southwest in Childersburg today and get your business on track to succeed. Online at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Your vehicle is your livelihood and you need it operating at peak performance. Sometimes those pesky gremlins attack your engine with a fury and at the worst possible time. The certified auto and diesel technicians at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center are ready to fight off those gremlins. Whether you're in the family car delivering the kids to practice or in your big rig delivering supplies or goods to your clients, you can depend on Camp Creek Auto and Truck to keep you moving down the road. There's no job too big or small at Camp Creek Auto and Truck Service Center, Highway 78 in Moody. Call them today, 205-640-1558. Renaissance Bank in Childersburg and the Championship Racing Network invite you to join them for the Pinko Wing Chili Cook-Off on October 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right, Friday the 13th. For just $5, you get a bowl of chili with all the fixings, chips or crackers, a cookie, and a drink, and add on a candy apple or cotton candy for just $2. Plus so many other activities like a raffle for 2 Sloss's Furnace VIP tickets, plus other giveaways and prizes. All proceeds from the event benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's October 13th at Renaissance Bank in Childersburg with support from Radio Alabama.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffered from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Fuel only, fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the Championship Racing Network here on Yay 106.5 and WIEA 1290, part of the Radio Alabama family of stations from the J&M Tank Line Studios. And, man, I am still kind of like, wow.
That was cool, yeah.
That was such a great
Very cool.
conversation with Donnie. Of course, we had Donnie Allison joining us, talking about the special event that they're going to have coming up there at Vulcan Park.
Yep.
That's going to be Monday the 16th. We're going to post up more on our Facebook page about that. So make sure you get on there, Championship Racing Network. Like that page, because guess what, Matt? We've also got something special going on.
Yep, we do.
We've still got tickets. We've got tickets for next weekend's events. Of course, practice day on Friday. You got the Fred's 250 on Saturday, and of course the Alabama 500 on Sunday. So we're going to do some giveaways on the social media side of things, and it's going to happen today. And Nikki actually asked me. She said, "Why didn't you do it, during the show?" And I said, we want to make sure people get a chance to get on social media. That way, everybody's not trying to pull over on the side of the road, because everybody wants tickets to go see Junior's last ride, of course. So if you're tuned in to the Facebook page, Championship Racing Network, you will find out how you yourself can get yourself some tickets for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for all the racing action up there at 33 degrees of banking at Talladega Super Speedway. We're going to jump right back into it. Of course, we got a little bit of news, and we got a pick to make this week because it's Charlotte this weekend. AJ Foyt Racing has not named their 2018 driver lineup yet, with the thought that Tony Kanaan, now a free agent with his release recently, would be joining the team. Connor Daly, son of former Formula One driver Derek Daly, who got his start with Foyt Racing in 2013, getting an Indy 500 start and being tabbed as a full-time driver for 2017, along with Carlos Munoz, as let it be known that he wants to return for another year. He feels good. He feels as though he and his number 4 Chevy-powered ABC Supply team built a good working relationship over the season, overcoming a bad start to the season to show that they were able to move more competitive in the latter parts of 2017. AJ Foyt Racing has not given a timetable for the announcement regarding their 2018 driver lineup. On Thursday, we found out that indeed one of their 2018 drivers would be Tony Kanaan. One of the worst-kept secrets in IndyCar in the past couple of months, the pairing puts 4-time Indy 500 winner AJ Foyt together with one of the series' most popular drivers of the current day and 2013 Indy 500 winner in Kanaan. This marks the first time that Foyt has hired a former Indy 500 winner to drive for him full-time. Now, it is a multi-year deal that includes sponsorship from longtime Foyt sponsor ABC Supply Company. His engineer will be the same man who led Kanaan to the 2013 Indy 500 win, Eric Cowden, who was with Kanaan when he won the 2004 IndyCar Series title as well, and has helped Kanaan claim 15 of his 17 career victories. Kanaan will drive the iconic number 14, the number Foyt ran when he raced. As for the 4 car, which Foyt is saying will run in 2018, that driver has not been named yet.
Do not look past this combination next year.
That is going to be a combination that I think is going to be extremely well. They've worked together before. Of course, 15 of 17 career victories with that team together. Yeah. That's going to be super awesome. It's great to see him in the 14. That iconic 14. Great to see ABC Supply Company jumping on board and just continuing that.
Whatever would be the nice word for a deadly combination, that's what I would use for this. This has the potential to be a deadly combination.
You ready? I'm going to hit you with a word.
Come on.
Potent.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Like Harry Potter. Potent in potions. Keeping along right here with the IndyCar Series, of course, Andretti Autosport has decided to jump on the single race Indy 500 deal too, announcing they will put Stephen Wilson in their number 25 entry at the Indy 500 next season, teaming with their regular drivers. So Wilson was slated to drive in the 2017 Indy 500, but stepped aside to allow Fernando Alonso to skip the Monaco F1 race to drive the Indy 500. Stephen is the younger brother of the late Justin Wilson, who died following the 2015 Pocono race where he sustained a fatal head injury. That was a very, very bad time.
Yeah, it was.
Team Penske made a couple of announcements this week. First being the biggest one, that Helio Castroneves won't be driving in the IndyCar Series in 2018. He will continue to drive for Team Penske, but switches from open-wheel racers to sport cars after 20 seasons in IndyCar. Castroneves is now 42 years old, holds 30 career wins in the IndyCar Series, including 3 Indy 500s. All of the wins coming following joining Team Penske in 2000, and he leaves Penske's IndyCar operation as their all-time winningest driver in the series. This means that Castroneves, if he never runs IndyCar again, will retire 12th all-time in wins, tied for third in all-time pole positions, and with teammate Will Power, who has 50. 6,037 laps led, fourth all-time behind only Mario and Michael Andretti and A.J. Foyt with 305 laps led in the Indy 500. 17th all-time among many other marks set during his 2 decades in the series. He will team with another former IndyCar driver in the IMSA WeatherTech Sport Car Championship, Juan Pablo Montoya, running an Acura ARX 05 Daytona prototype.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
Yes,
very fun to watch.
Is. Now, we don't have too much time in the show left, but that's fine. We've got a couple of minutes. First and foremost, we want to talk about the Pink-O-Ween Chili Cook-Off for Breast Cancer Awareness happening next Friday. This coming Friday, Friday the 13th. Do not worry, folks. Jason will not be there. He has not said that he's going to attend, so he will stay in the lake. So, looking at the event, we're going to have just tons of stuff going on. Raffles are going crazy. The support has been absolutely amazing for Renaissance Bank at 8th Avenue Southwest in downtown Childersburg. That's where it's going to be. We're going to have some race cars. Cruz Skinner's going to join us, of course, out there with his number 11 Cruise Missile. He's going to be out there, and he's going to be running at Talladega that night. We're also going to have Rodney Davis and his 33X Hot Shot dirt car. He's going to be joining us as well. Still looking for some more drivers. A lot of people still running out there at Talladega, but we're going to see if we can get a couple more in. But there's a lot of great raffles. It's all for a great cause because every bit of the proceeds from the chili, we're also going to have hot dogs if you don't want chili. It might be a little hot for chili. We'll see. But the thing is we're going to have that. There's going to be some sides, some cookies and chips and stuff. You're going to get a drink. We're going to also have cotton candy, candy apples, lollipops. that Janice up at Renaissance Bank got, and she's been very ingenuitive when it comes to things. We're going to have Main Street Family Urgent Care is going to be out there with their prize wheel. Dr. Wags is also going to join us from Main Street Family Urgent Care. We are going to be out there. Well, you're not. I will. Myself and Nicole DeMond, we are going to be out there. So Nikki and I will be holding down the fort at the Pink-O-Ween Chili Cook-Off at Renaissance Bank.
Yeah, I'll be a little busy.
You'll be up at Talladega. We're going to have our prize wheel for Yay 106.5 and, of course, Radio Alabama out there. Bobby G from the 50s at 5, he's going to be out there set up. He's going to be joining us for the day. So many different vendors, so many different things going on. It's all for a great cause. Like I said, it's all going for breast cancer to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation of Alabama.
Good cause indeed.
Tickets right now, you can get your raffle tickets. You don't necessarily need to be there to win. You can stop down to Renaissance Bank. It's $2 per ticket, or you can get this, 15 tickets for $10. I mean, do the math. You might as well just pay the $10 and get 15 tickets, get all the chances.
Yep.
Thanks so much to, let's see, all of the raffles. We've got Lou Bell's Clothing and Accessories in Silicaga. We've got Batter Up and Cater Up in Childersburg. Old Town Grill in Childersburg. Home Depot has chipped in some. We've also got all kinds of gift baskets and stuff, from a Sensi basket to paparazzi jewelry. Plunder jewelry is going to be out there. There's all kinds of raffles. Make sure you stop in at Renaissance Bank. If you can't get a chance to stop in there, give them a call or even hit us up on the show page and let us know that you need some tickets. We'll get you squared away for those raffle tickets. Everything's going to be given away the day of the event. That's October 13th, this coming Friday at Renaissance Bank in downtown Childersburg, 8th Avenue Southwest. We're hoping you can join us from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yep. That's hometown territory for me.
Yes, it is for you. Now, we don't have too much time left in the show. So, once again, this week, we're not going to be able to do 3 picks. We're going to just kind of talk about Charlotte just a little bit and see what you're thinking. What's your thoughts looking at Charlotte this weekend? A lot of people hitting some walls. Who do you think is going to survive?
I'm going to say going into Talladega next week, the man that will be breathing easier.
Breathing easier. I like that.
Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth? Really?
Yep.
Okay. I saw a lot of speed yesterday.
Yeah.
Saw tons of speed going on up there. But I also saw a lot of cars hitting walls.
I did, too.
I was very surprised to see Kyle Busch did not go to a backup car. They fixed that number 18 Toyota Camry and got him back out doing what they needed to do, even though it was a very vicious hit on the wall on that right side.
Yep.
But I am going to go with somebody who has won there before. He's found a way to win, and he actually passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. to do it for the Coca-Cola 600 a couple years back, and that's going to be the number 4 Ford of Kevin Harvick. He had a lot of speed in rounds 1 and round 2 of qualifying. Didn't quite get it done in round 3, but I think that Rodney Childers and him are going to find some speed.
That they are.
And we're going to see that number 4 in victory lane.
You can never count Carl Harvick out.
No, you cannot.
Never.
Not at all. The first moment you do, that's when you see him go past.
Yeah, that's when you
And
go
I think- So my guy that's going to be breathing easier going into Talladega next week will be Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
So big thanks, of course. We're going to be ready to roll things out of here. Big thanks to Renaissance Bank for being a great sponsor of the show. You can visit them online, renaissancebank.com, the official bank of the Championship Racing Network, and, of course, Camp Creek Auto and Truck for all their support as well. That's about it, man.
Yeah, that is it.
That's it.
We got it all covered.
This week is all figured out.
Yeah, it is.
So it's going to be a great weekend. We're looking forward to seeing you next week. Make sure you stay tuned because we've got tickets.
Keep watching.
For Talladega next week. Until next week, I'm Dustin Harmer.
Matt Nicholson.
We will see you next week, same time, same channel, right here on Yay 106.5 and WYEA 1290.
See ya.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.